everyone. Welcome to season 1 of Empowered Talk, the gateway to a more empowered and enriched life. Empowered Talk is not just a podcast, it's a transformative journey where we bring your inspiring stories of success, growth, and resilience. So, before I invite my very special guest today, let me share something about me. Well, my name is Arpita Chatterjee, and I embarked my professional career at the age of 19 as a receptionist. Eventually, I reached the position of business head. For last 3 years, I'm learning from many eminent, life coaches and become a certified mindset and life coach. My niche is very simple yet powerful to raise an energy and confidence. So today I have invited a very special guest, that is Dr. Saurabh Patil. Dr. Saurabh Patil is an anger management specialist, which I believe is a very crucial thing in today's scenario. And of course, a global speaker and an SPR coach for men. So thank you so much, Dr. Saurabh Patil, to join my podcast and welcome to my podcast. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Arpita. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. I am fantastic. How are you?
Absolutely fine. So, Dr. Saurabh Patil, share something about your journey, about your coaching journey or speaker journey.
Well, to start with, it was never planned to get into coaching or even speaking. I was always an entrepreneur. I've done my MBA. I traveled the world doing corporate job with certain companies, traveled to 10 countries, then came back to India in 2013. And then in 2015, I started my own venture into healthcare. Then COVID happened and I had to take a step back. And then post COVID, ventured into hospitality by opening up my restaurant and then a self service cafeteria in Mumbai. But anger has always been a part of my life where I was pretty known to be a short tempered guy. Small triggers who used to flare the anger. I used to lose my temper very quickly, and it was seen to be something negative. It was seen something that I couldn't get rid of. It felt like it was part of me, and eventually, during COVID, pre-COVID, and post-COVID, I noticed that a lot of men experience anger. And then I realized that this is not just me, it's an ingrained problem in most of the people that they either ignore anger, they feel negative about anger, they don't know how to channel it. So that is the reason post COVID, when I started coaching, I felt that this is the niche where I can work on myself and then I can help a lot of men transform their anger into something much more positive and strong.
Wonderful. But why only men? Because women also have a lot of anger. Why you chose men?
Yes, they do. But somewhere I felt, that when uh, women talk it out. We see a lot of women discuss things among their friends, discuss it, vent it out when they want to. But men don't do that. Men usually suppress anger. For men, getting angry is more like a manhood. Unfortunately, this is the narrative that has been shaped all these years due to patriarchy, that anger is part of being a man, so it's okay. And a lot of times when men are not able to express the anger, they suppress it, and it either comes out in the form of physical violence, verbal abuse, or even substance abuse, where they drink a lot with their friends and then it comes out in the form of venting or some or the other negative action. So men were never told how to channel their anger. In fact, a lot of men are clueless. They treat anger as a very negative emotion and they try to ignore it. But then when uh, when it feels up inside you, when it becomes intolerable inside you, it bursts out in the wrong manner, it bursts out in the wrong way, and then it not only harms your surroundings, it not only harms your uh, personality or your reputation, it also destroys you from inside, it also destroys your relationship with people around. So that is the reason I saw this very common in men, and that is one of the reasons I thought we do
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely right. And definitely because of anger, you are absolutely right. Because from childhood, that women are like, like they have parents also given, brought up like, okay, you can cry. Like, but men, like, they are strong people. They can't be cry. This kind of always been upbringing is always like that. So as you say
Yeah.
that anger is negative, of course, it's often seen as a negative. But can anger be channeled positively into resilience and or leadership? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anger is perceived as negative, whereas anger is not a negative emotion. It's a very strong emotion. In fact, you can uh, take anger as a signal to tell you something about yourself. That if you can channel it well, if you can understand where the triggers are coming from, and then channel it, then you will be able to build a better personality. You will be able to build something much bigger. You will be, in fact, that anger can act as a motivation, that anger can act as a strong fuel for you to achieve which you're always dreaming of. Like, for example, when Steve Jobs was removed out of Apple, he was angry, of course, but then he didn't destroy himself by, doing substance abuse. He didn't destroy himself by doing physical abuse on anyone. More importantly, Steve Jobs did a comeback, a stronger comeback. That anger that he was being kicked out of his own company made him do something much bigger where he innovated in Apple. He changed things in Apple. He transformed things in Apple when he came back. And that is what we see Apple today, the way they're coming up with their products, the way the innovation is. So anger can be used by leaders for not only resilience, but to outgrow themselves, to transform themselves, to build something much bigger. Be strong leader, influential leader, or even have sharper decisions.
Right. Absolutely right. And one thing that I feel is that as you said that anger is negative, but in today's scenario it's a very common thing. Now I believe not of people could not able to understand that is this something is really seriously affecting, because anger is like common. Is everyone saying okay yaar gussa hi to hai, because of situation I got angry or something like that. So what are the early sign, early sign that you feel, some of the early sign that you feel that stress is turning into burnout, and especially for men, in high pressure roles, like what are the early sign that you can tell, that the person can be well aware that okay, this is the sign that I'm also getting. So share something about that.
Yes. So when you're a high pressure leader, like you're a CEO, you're a founder, or even you're an entrepreneur or a CXO, a lot of CXOs or CEOs I've seen all these years that who are admired for this calm composure, who have huge experience, impressive resumes. But even these kind of CEOs do struggle. Even these kind of business leaders struggle. Even entrepreneurs, founders struggle. And when the stress starts affecting you, when the stress starts cropping up inside you, there are small triggers that irritate you. So let's say, for example, we know a CEO who's turned into a founder who's known for his calm composure, has a very impressive track record. And suddenly he starts getting irritated over small things like, even an investor calls for a meeting, their boardroom discussion turns into heated arguments. Even something so small as, you don't get a hot cup of tea by your staff or maybe your house, and then you get irritated. And then you flash out or you snap out right there. You say something you regret. You get irritated by smaller things in your life. So that is basically a signal that you're too much stressed, and all smaller, minor things in life which matter really less start triggering you. And the moment that starts triggering you, you start showing some reactions. You start snapping out, even for on a glass of water which is not served right as per you. All these small reactions where you react even to your team are signs that you are getting into a stress which is beyond your control, and that is affecting your day-to-day life.
Yes, that's amazing, and that's absolutely right. That's true. So, Dr. Saurabh, we have really talked very seriously. So, let's do some fun activity. Let's do some rapid fire round. Okay,
Sure.
I'll ask you some question. You need to answer in a one word and quickly. Okay. So, can you
Sure.
start?
Yes.
Tea or coffee?
T.
One word you'd use to describe healthy masculinity.
Empathy, strong empathy.
Okay. So, anger. Suppress it, express it, or channelize it.
Of course, channel it.
Okay, so book or movie that change your perspective on men's mental health.
So, I would rather say a book. I don't remember its name. I have it in my shelf. It's a book which talks about men, what masculinity is, what masculinity talks about, how men need to understand their anger. And there is one book which I have read it a couple of times. In fact, I've taken a lot of notes from that. That is written by someone called as Corner Beaton, who is a men's coach again. He talks about how men can channel themselves, how men can get rid of the shadows that they have. In fact, he has a lot of courses on relationship, how to get rid of addictions from pornography. So he has written a very well book. I forgot the name of the book. I can send it to you later. So that book has really changed my perception on what masculinity is, what it was, where it is going today, how the men have become boys, and how masculinity is grossly misunderstood and taken into a wrong direction.
That's wonderful. So share something about the SPR process that you are following. It's very interesting about the
Yeah.
SPR process. Please share something about that.
Okay. So usually, as I said, anger is something, if it gets triggered under stress, you snap out at anyone. And when you get triggered, you snap out. As per psychology, you have a gap of 4 to 5 seconds to react. We usually react, we don't respond. And that was a big gap that I noticed. And we fail to understand that those 5 seconds is a big space where we can introspect and understand whether we are reacting or we are responding. So to counter that, after coaching a lot of men in the last few years, understanding my own perspective, my own psychology, where I went wrong, I came up with this framework called as SPR: stop, pause, restart. So when you get triggered, it comes out of practice, of course, but I'll tell you in short, when you get triggered, instead of reacting, take a pause for those 5 seconds. Take a break from your autopilot reactions, stop yourself, and then move to the pause. The pause is where you breathe, you take a step back mentally, you ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Is this anger, or is this some deeper emotion, or some guilt, or something else that I'm feeling? And then you restart with the right intentions, the intentions that align with your values as a leader, the intentions that align with your values as an entrepreneur or as a man. And then you learn to respond instead of reacting. So this is a framework I designed for men who are struggling in day-to-day life, for leaders, for CXOs, for founders, for entrepreneurs, to use to respond and become a better leader than react.
Wonderful. So if man practice SPR daily, what would be the world look like after 5 years? What do you feel?
Okay, so I can just guess, and I just hope it does. Every man practices SPR. So if we men start practicing SPR, I think most of the leaders will start having empathy, build trust with their team, build better relations with their investors, client. In fact, most of the leaders would be emotionally intelligent, would have clarity in their thoughts, and become magnetic to their teams, their clients, investors, everyone around. And as a man, even in your day to day life, as a husband, father, son, friend, anyone, if you're able to practice SPR, I think you will have clarity in your relation, in your life. You will have better relations with the opposite gender. And not only that, you will become a better person to channel your anger and
Wonderful.
be understood rather than be misunderstood, or people fearing your reaction as a man. People will start trusting you, respecting you.
That's amazing because if trust is something is very important in professional relation as well as personal, and if you can do that, you can do something for that. That's just amazing. So, in your coaching, you are using NLP practices also and mindfulness as well as emotional intelligence. So, how do these tools help men respond rather than react?
Yeah, so basically, as we know, NLP is neuro linguistic programming. And mindfulness is being mindful about your reactions, your behavior, your understanding. We all have certain programming in your mind mentally. And that when these programming keep running at the back of the mind, our reactions become autopilot. And even when we are doing something, we just snap out, or maybe we just say something we don't even, or we haven't even thought of, and then we regret. So NLP, I'm using NLP basically to reprogram those thought process of men, reprogram those beliefs which are stuck in them. Some of the men want to move out of their belief system. Some of the men want to do something different, but due to the certain beliefs brought up since childhood, but due to certain patriarchal system beliefs, certain values they have been ingrained with as a man, they are not able to move out of it, and they're stuck in the guilt. So NLP helps them to reprogram their thoughts, values, belief system, and come out of it. And mindfulness makes them more present, make them more mindful of their reactions, their thought process, and even the response that they give to the people they interact with, to the words that they write when they're writing something, even if it's a small email in your office. And that gives them an emotional clarity and how their thought process should be, what how they should be responding, what should be the right way of understanding and having an emotional mastery on themselves as a leader or as a man.
Amazing. So, I would like to ask you, like, what message you want to give those who are going to watch this podcast? Any message, any important message is very that you want to share?
Yes. So to all the men, uh, or even everyone, I don't want to restrict to men, everyone, men, women, everyone. Anger is not a negative emotion. Don't ignore it. Treat it like a signal that you are getting triggered or you are getting irritated. Treat it like a signal and use SPR so that you don't react impulsively. You act, you respond responsibly. So treat anger as a signal. Where you understand it, you channel it, and you respond responsibly.
Wonderful. Dr. Saurabh Patil, I'll share your social media in my YouTube description
Sure.
also. But please share how people can contact you, because I'm very sure you can help many, many men, as you are specialized for anger management, and anger is something very important. So, how the people can connect with you? Please share something about that as well.
So I'll share my website. I'll share my email address. My website has a lot of blogs. You can write to me on my email address. My website will also be having some ebooks, free ebooks for you to download and understand. It also has my book, which is called as The Alchemy of Anger, which I've recently written. It talks about my journey. It talks about how you can channel your anger, use it rather than ignore it, and how it has helped some of the cases I've coached to become better person, better leader. So I'll share my website, my email ID, where you can contact me there.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Dr. Saurabh Patil. It was great, great talking to you, and I personally learned a lot from you in this 20 minutes, podcast. And I'm sure that people who are going to watch this, they'll definitely learn a lot. And all the best for your career, for your life. I'm sure you'll do wonder in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Arpita. It was pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.